welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry it's been a while, but life has been a little bit hectic. But this is my, sadly, a week late, Undefeated Invoked Madolche deck profile. This is a 44 card main, so it's a little thick. I like to normally cut my decks off officially at 45, but I like to try to keep them somewhere between 40 to 42. Normally, this used to be a 43 card deck when I actually played it, when it got its undefeated score, but I will talk about that card and that change once we get to it. So this deck consists of 24 monsters, 14 spells, and 6 traps. So let's get right into our main deck. We'll of course start with our monsters, obviously. And if you haven't really seen Madolches before, I'm sorry, this isn't the profile for you. I'm just kind of running through most of these. A lot of people already know the standard 3 Baby, or Petincessor, I like to call her Baby, 3 Angeli, 3 Magellan, and of course we have our 2 Messengelato and 2 Hootcake. This is the ratios I feel comfortable playing whenever it comes to Messengelato and Hootcake, also known as Message Man and Hoodles. I know that some people have dropped Hootcake to 1 before, people have dropped Mailman to 1. I like them at 2. That's just me. And then of course we have our 1 Puddingcess. I've seen people play this at 2 before, and I don't necessarily think that's bad or wrong. I do think that if you're going to play it at 2, play pure Madolches. I think 1 is perfect for this build. And then for a little bit of a strange card, I am playing 1 Butler Rusk, and that is for our next card. This card, if you are unaware, says that obviously it has the Madolche bounce, hits the grave, shuffle it back into your deck. When this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 field spell card from your deck to your hand. There must be another face-up Madolche monster on the field to activate and resolve this effect. So the reason I'm only playing him at 1 is, first, he eats your normal, and even though we have Salon, it's still, you know, you kind of need it, especially because we are playing the Invoked engine. On top of that, you need a Madolche card on the field to resolve his effect. So that is why I'm playing it at 1. I'm really hoping to see it turn 3, or to be able to search it at the end of my combo when I don't really need other materials. He's in there just to set up my hand for the next turn, realistically. And then of course we are playing our 3 Alistair the Invoker, the man, the myth, the legend. And then for our monster hand traps, we have 3 Ash Blossom, and you'll see why. I know a lot of people don't feel comfortable playing Ash Blossom with Madolches, especially because of its need to have literally no monsters in the graveyard, but I play Ash Blossom because, first of all, it's a great hand trap, and second, because of a card that I'm playing in my extra deck. And then this is the card that I did change out. Originally I was playing 2 DD Crows, but I have switched that out to be 3 Skullmeisters. I just think Skullmeister will be a little bit better at my personal locals. You can play DD Crow if you want. There were times when DD Crow was the card I needed, so I do have DD Crows in my side, but for now I'm playing Skullmeister, also because I just kind of had copies. So, something that I forgot to mention in the beginning, some cards that I do recommend adding into the deck, or, you know, if you want to test it out, of course, Droplets, Nibiru's, you can potentially play Zeus. I know a lot of people like to play Herald of Orange Light as well. I think that card would be better in pure Madolches than it is in this deck, but also the artifacts, and if you really want to, you can test out Kaijus as well. These are all cards that sadly I don't really have access to, so I'm not playing them, but this build has done excellent for me so far as somebody who cannot currently afford those cards and does not own them. However, if you have access to those cards, maybe test it out. onto our spells and traps. We're playing 2 Chateau and 1 ticket. This is also pretty standard. I know that some people have in the past bumped it down to 1 Chateau and 1 ticket. I like 2 and 1. That's just the ratios I prefer. And then of course we have our 3 of Salon. Best card in the deck. Honestly, this is the card we needed to make sure this deck was still remotely playable today in today's format. So thank goodness we have it, right? And it is the reason that Invoked Mekk-Knight is the Invoked Mekk-Knight. I don't know why I keep saying that. I think it's because Nod played Invoked Mekk-Knight earlier today, but Invoked Madolches wouldn't be possible without this card. And then of course we have our 3 Magical Meltdown and 2 invocations. I don't really think 3 invocations are needed. Personally, I think 2 is just like that perfect fit for this build. Even if you do add in all those cards that I recommended, I think 2 is just the sweet spot. And then I am playing a bunch of 3-ofs, or sorry, a bunch of 1-ofs, 3 1-ofs. These cards can be, of course, exchanged for the cards that I had mentioned before. I am playing 1 Terraforming, 1 Called by the Grave, and 1 Regeki. Don't laugh. Everyone's like, why are you playing Regeki? Regeki's bad, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? Nobody laughs when I drop it on them, so I laugh, obviously. But no, I find that this card is good. It's a nostalgia card. Kind of nod to my 2017 build. I've kind of played it, I think, in every version of Madolche I've played. It comes in handy, and when it doesn't come in handy, I just don't see it. So, I don't know. I always liked having it in. Of course, you can take it out. And then that is it for our spells. For our traps, I am playing 2 Promenade. I think you can of course try 3, but I like 2 so far. And then I'm playing 2 Compulsory Escape Device. Honestly, such a good card. I'm so happy that I added it into the deck forever ago, honestly. I used to play Evacuation Device, which is also a good card, but sadly, since everything can't be targeted nowadays, I think Escape Device, since it affects the player and not the card on field, is a way better choice. And then of course I'm playing my Infinite Impermanence. I know a lot of people say this card is kind of trash, this format. You can of course play Judgments instead if you really want to, or you know, essentially anything. This could be anything that you want, really. It could be Droll and Lockbird, it could be anything. I like the Imperm personally because of what people are playing at my locals. I think it does well enough, but I know that it's not everyone's choice card this format. Onto our extra deck. So of course for my invocation package, my invoked package, I have 2 Macabas. I know a lot of people hate this card, but I like it. And 1 Purgatrio, once again, that's for the Ash, of course, to also help get it out of the graveyard. And then to get into these, I have an Artemis and an Almirage. I have only used Almirage once. For the most part, I've ended up banishing my Ash Blossoms, or I've ended up using my opponent's cards, because apparently fire is very prevalent at my locals, and I didn't really realize just how many people were playing fire and lights. So they came in handy a lot. And then we have for our Xyz, I have 1 Baguska. This card honestly has helped me against Shaddolls and a few other choice circumstances where I kind of couldn't go into my Madolches. We have 3 Teacher Glass Fillet and 2 Queen Tiramisu's, as well as 2 Chocolate a la Modes. Let me move everything over just a little bit so you can see it. These cards being at 2, I think is good. So far I haven't needed a third of them at all. I did put in an extra chocolate a la mode into my side just in case I needed it or found that I needed it, but so far 2 has been perfect. 3 glace foulet. I honestly only needed so far 2 of them, but I think 3 is good for that just in case moment, especially because her effect is honestly what really makes the combo work. So and then of course I'm playing 2 Madolche Fresh Start. So that is it for my extra. Alrighty, so that is it for my Invoked Madolche deck. I hope you enjoyed it. This is kind of a more budget version of this deck and what it could potentially have in it, I suppose, but so far it runs beautifully for me. Some plus sides to this deck: I hardly ever brick with it. When I do, I mean, a brick is a brick, but when I do, I'm at least able to put something on the board, even if it's not something good, for the most part. But the goal of this deck really is to out Nibiru. You want to open something like Baby and Meltdown, or Baby and Alistair, and pop off from there, or you want to do either Meltdown or Alistair and then have one of your extenders in hand, or starters, I don't know, like Angeli or Mageline, and you want to have your Salon, of course. So the worst that I've found with this deck is honestly if I don't open the perfect combo, I either end up just doing Madolche plays or I end up just doing Invoked plays, and honestly both have worked beautifully for me. So it's not even a bad thing to only be able to do one play. It's interesting though, because I found in most of my matches what ended up happening is I would do Invoked stuff, and then the next game I would do only Madolche stuff, and I was like, it looks like I'm cheating and just kind of magically swapping my deck, but I promise it's the same deck. But yeah, no, I love this deck. I'm not normally the type of person to add an engine to basically anything. I like my decks pure. I've played pure Madolche since I've gotten my hands on them, and it's been interesting to not play pure anymore and to play the Invoked variant of this build. It's been an adjustment, but honestly I think it's working really well for me. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!